Welcome to GDs. And this is Lock and Key, Season 2. Season starts with Gabe and Eden, now possessed by a demon, going into the sea caves to look for Whispering Iron, while Kinsey is spending time relaxing using the head key. Tyler is spending time with Jackie. And Bode tests out a new key, called the Hercules key, which gives the user superhuman strength. Duncan also moves into the Keyhouse with the rest of the Locke family. And we learn that his fiancé Brian will be leaving to stay in Tokyo for 6 months. In addition, they also reveal that they plan to get married. We also see the premiere of the Savini Squad's movie, The Splattering, which is being held at a local theater. Scott is also at the premiere, after secluding himself for most of the summer, editing the film, along with his new friend Abby. And during the movie, Eden loses her control and kills a man. Though Gabe helps her cover it up, but he knows that he cannot rely on her. And at the after party, Scott tells Kinsey that he applied for a film program at Rochester College in England, and he will be moving away if he gets selected. Kinsey also feels a bit jealous, seeing Scott with Abby. While Jackie starts forgetting the magic of the keys, as her 18th birthday is quickly approaching, and Tyler is worried about the same. Meanwhile, Gabe and Eden take over a cabin in the woods as their operating base. And they melt down the Whispering Iron they obtained to make a key of their own. They test out their newly made key, but it does not have the effects they desired. And with only one Whispering Iron left to make the key, Gabe wants to be sure on how to make it, and he thinks that Locks might know how to make one. On the other hand, with the schools opening after summers, Nina starts her new job, renovating the school theater at Matheson Academy. And she meets the new history teacher, Josh Bennett. And they have a rocky start. While Bode becomes friends with a new girl, Jamie, and he tells her about the keys. And we find out that her father is Josh Bennett. And he has a replica of the Keyhouse in his study. Abby is also let in on the secret of the keys, as they plan for their next movie. And there is some friction in the group when they learn that Scott might be moving away. Gabe tries to know more about the keys from Kinsey, and she lets him know that she doesn't know much, but reveals to him how the ghost key helped them talk with Rendell Locke. Kinsey, in order to know more about Gabe, wants to use the mind key on him, but he pushes back. And this upsets Kinsey, and she asks him to leave. Gabe returns to Keyhouse when Kinsey was away. And Bode gives him the ghost key so he can try it out. And as a ghost, Gabe visits Rendell Locke and asks him how to make a key. Chamberlain tells him that he must infuse the key with the intention of what he wants it to do, and he must also offer a drop of blood as a sacrifice. While Kinsey and Tyler visit Aaron at the psychiatric hospital. As Kinsey remembered that Ellie told them that they found a way on how adults could remember the magic, and thus, they use the head key on Aaron, so they can learn how they remembered magic as adults. And inside Aaron's head, they find a younger version of Aaron, who has been trapped inside for 23 years. And as they bring her out from her head, Aaron finally regains consciousness. And we find out that 23 years ago, a housekeeper found Aaron using the head key, and she accidentally dislodges it, inadvertently trapping Aaron inside of her own head. Aaron moves into Keyhouse with them until her trust fund comes through. Meanwhile, Bode finds a small key, and when he visits Jamie at her house, she shows him that she has a dollhouse version of Keyhouse. And they figure out that when the small world key is inserted into the dollhouse, anything that occurs in the dollhouse also happens in the real Keyhouse. And when Nina notices the replica of her house, Josh lets her know that he is a history buff and found the Keyhouse replica in an antique store. While at school, Scott lets Kinsey know that he is not with Abby, and they are just friends. And Gabe, seeing Kinsey and Scott getting close, decides to draw a wedge between them. And asks Eden to use the music box to control Scott, and she makes him attack Gabe. And as Kinsey tried to check if her music box was home, Eden was able to keep it back, using the Anywhere key. Though she kept the box back in time, she lost the Anywhere key, as Duncan kept it with him. Gabe and Eden make their second attempt at making the key, but the key explodes, ruining their last piece of Whispering Iron. And Gabe knows that Rendell Locke played with him. Back in the Keyhouse, they are attacked by a giant spider, and Bode knew that the spider was in the small key house, and he calls Jamie to help them out. Going through this experience, and seeing Duncan having no memories of past events, Erin feels guilty and responsible, and she tells them that Duncan create a key that made adults remember magic before they removed his memories. In addition, she wants to give Duncan his memories back, and Tyler and Kinsey agree to it and do the needful. Having his memories back, Duncan shows them the anywhere key he found, and the Locks are not sure how he got it. But Duncan struggles to adjust to the return of his lost memories, resulting in extreme mood swings, headaches, and hallucinations, causing the Locks and Erin to realize that his best chance at a full recovery is to find the memory key. And Erin shows Tyler from her memory where the key might be hidden. On the other hand, Kinsey, struggling with her feelings, decides to retrieve the embodiment of her fear, and she puts it back into her head. Josh hosts a social night, and he reveals to some of his students that his ancestor was a soldier in the British Army during the American Revolutionary War. And Gabe, seeing that Josh has a piece of whispering iron, steals it. Kinsey, mistrust of Gabe, increases when she catches him with Eden. While Tyler, using the anywhere key, takes Jackie to England on her 18th birthday. However, she soon forgets the magic, and she becomes disoriented and wants to go home. Gabe, now having a whispering iron, visits Keyhouse in search of the music box in order to force Kinsey to make a key for him. But when he learns that Duncan has made a key before, he decides to help Tyler to search for the memory key so Duncan can restore his memories properly. And they were able to find the key beneath a bench outside Matheson Academy. Meanwhile, Bode uses the anywhere key to visit Rufus in Nebraska, where he learns from Rufus that there were 2 dodges on the night of the shadow attack on the key house. While Kinsey attends a party where she makes amends with Scott. Kinsey also decides to talk with Eden to know more about Gabe. But Eden passed out, and Kinsey decides to enter her mind and ask Scott to stand guard. Kinsey and Scott learn that Eden is a demon, and they also find out that Gabe is Dodge. Back at Keyhouse, Tyler and Erin use the memory key on Duncan and successfully reintegrate his lost memories. Kinsey informs them about Gabe and Eden. And Bode also returns from Nebraska and tells Tyler and Kinsey that there were 2 dodges on the night of the shadow attack, and they figure out that they must have thrown Ellie through the black door instead of Dodge. On the other hand, Nina and Josh spend some time together and are getting close to each other. At the key house, Bode and Duncan hear whispering, and it leads them to a chain key. Tyler, Kinsey, and Bode decide to keep the return of Duncan's memory a secret until they can come up with a plan to take down Gabe. And in order to keep up the appearances, they go to the annual Winterfest. Kinsey, though afraid, but was able to control her fear in front of Gabe. While Tyler tells Jackie that he can use the memory key on her so that she can remember all the magic of the keys again, but Jackie refuses, believing it is better to move on. Back at the key house, Erin takes the chain key for herself so that she can defeat Dodge on her own. And Erin confronts Gabe in the snow maze, but Eden helps him out, and he chokes her to death and buries her using the plant key. And the Locks were not able to save her. And they realize that they must take matters into their own hands. Kinsey calls Gabe and tells him that the memory key finally worked for Duncan, and that he should come over the next day. Duncan, Tyler, Kinsey, and Bode hold a memorial ceremony for Erin in the woods. And Scott also arrives to help them out as they come up with a plan to defeat Gabe. Gabe and Eden arrive at the key house, believing that they will be filming the sequel to The Splattering. As Gabe films with Scott and Kinsey, Jamie uses the dollhouse to trap Eden under a giant glass, but she is interrupted by Josh, and Eden was able to get out. While Tyler uses the anywhere key to open a door to the well house, where Gabe can be destroyed, and they try to push him in, but Gabe uses the chain key to push them back. And he captures Bode, and takes Duncan with him to the cabin, using the anywhere key, and leaves Eden behind. But she was able to escape from the key house. Tyler, Kinsey, and Scott were able to find the cabin's address on Eden's food delivery receipts, and they drive to the cabin to save Duncan and Bode. At the cabin, Gabe threatens to kill Bode and Duncan, agrees to create Gabe's demon key, and the key turns its victim into a demon and a slave. And Gabe tests it on Javi. Gabe releases Duncan and Bode, but sends Javi to kill them. But Tyler, Kinsey, and Scott arrive just in time, and they were able to save Duncan and Bode. The Lockes attempt to protect their remaining friends from Gabe, as he uses his new demon key to turn people into demons. But their efforts fail, as Gabe was able to turn Jackie into a demon. And Tyler knows that they must craft a new key to separate the demons from the soul. And this is when they realize that they have one more whispering iron hidden in their father's old fishing lure. And with only Tyler hearing the whispers from the metal, Duncan reveals that Tyler must craft this new key himself, as the metal is speaking to him, and he will guide him. This is when we learn the history of the Keyhouse and the Lockes. Back in 1775, Captain Frederick Gideon attacks the Keyhouse, which was being used by the Continental Army to build and hide weapons for the American Revolutionary War. And he killed Peter Locke as he tried to save his family. But before he could kill the rest of his family, he is forced to flee to the seaside caves, as the local militia intervenes. Gideon's touch causes the portal to open in the caves, infecting both Gideon and another soldier with demons. While one demon is pushed back, Gideon is captured. Benjamin Locke, using some of the whispering iron left behind, crafts the black door and the Omega key to seal away the portal. Gideon was also hanged for his crimes, but he warned that the evil isn't over yet. And we also learn that he is the ancestor of Josh. Back in the Keyhouse, Gabe visits Kinsey and gives her a day to become a demon, or he will kill Nina. While Tyler, with the help of Duncan, crafts the Alpha key, which can unlock the demon from a person's soul. And at school, Eden kills Javi, who has been spying on her for Gabe, and she takes the Anywhere key. She has also been pushing Josh to get the Omega key from the Keyhouse, as she can show him what he has been looking for. And in order to assure him of its existence, she takes him to the black door in the caves. But Gabe doesn't want more demons out, as they won't be in his control, shows up at the caves, and uses the Crown of Shadows to bring down the cave. Eden was able to escape, but Josh is trapped. Bode and Jamie rescue Josh, using the Hercules key. And Josh quickly forgets everything about the magic. The destruction of caves caused the door to open, and Ellie, turned into Dodge, returns back and closes the door before getting out from the caves. And at the Keyhouse, an unseen ghost leads Kinsey and Scott to the Angel key, and they think it is Chamberlain, but indeed it was Sam. Tyler, having the Alpha key, meets Jackie in the woods and uses the key to evict the demon from her soul. Though he was able to eject the demon, but Jackie's body was unable to take the stress, and she dies. The next day, Kinsey goes to Gabe's house, and she distracts him and the other demons, giving Tyler, Duncan, and Scott time to sneak in to steal the demon key. Kinsey, using the Angel key, grabs the crown from Gabe, as the rest of the demons go after them. Tyler, using the Alpha key, and Scott using the Hercules key, is able to push them back, as Duncan tries to get in the vault, but they are overpowered. This is when Duncan discovers that as the creator of the demon key, he can control the demons. And he turns them against Dodge, and Dodge, in order to fight back, destroys the house with the plant key, while the rest of them make their way out. As Dodge and Kinsey fight, Tyler sneaks up on Dodge and kills the demon with the Alpha key. And Kinsey flies out with him. With Dodge being killed, the real Lucas emerges from the wreckage, and being an echo, he survived the separation from Dodge. And he returns all the stolen keys. Ellie is turned back into her original look, and she reunites with Lucas. And goes to Nebraska to be with her son Rufus. Tyler is leaving for a road trip, and he decides not to use the memory key, so that he can live a normal life. The Savini squad holds a send-off party for Scott before he leaves for school in England. And Bode uses the head key on Nina to show her happy memories of Rendell. And Bode, knowing her mom wants to remember magic, reveals the memory key and tells her that he won't let her forget. And as the season ends, Eden recovers the Echo key from Gabe's dorm room and uses it to summon Gideon and wants him to follow her, but he throws Eden down the well and escapes using the Anywhere key. Thanks for watching. And if you liked it, please subscribe.